What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jacked Ramsays live show. Danny Marang, Brandon Sprgaue. Sorry for the weird time here, mostly because my day has been a complete disaster. I'll get into it real quick. Brandon doesn't even know what happened because I didn't want to waste his time saying it twice. I woke up at 5:30 this morning to my wife saying, Danny, the hot water's not working. And I'm thinking, yeah, I've been here for a year. It's about time for shit to fall apart.
Hey, that's what they say about houses, right? You're always paying to fix something.
And I didn't pay to fix it. Papa had to buy a brand new one.
Oh, a new water heater?
On the spot.
So you bought, let's recap this real quick.
Headset.
Yeah.
The chair.
Yeah.
The couch.
The couch.
And a new water heater.
Yeah. What's it like to be flat broke?
So, I've been up since 5:30 this morning.
Nice.
I went to bed at 1:30. Then after dealing with the water heater, I was 15 minutes late to physical therapy, but I got the go-ahead from my post-op yesterday to really get after it. And so my physical therapist kicked the shit out of me today. Then I had to go in and deal with, for my day job, end-of-month stuff. Because I work with customs and shipping and all that kind of stuff. I've got a lot of paperwork I have to do every single month that if I get wrong, let me tell you, it's a really good idea to do it whether you're really tired and on painkillers. Because if you get it wrong, it's definitely not a $500,000 fine or jailable offense. So then I came home and I looked at my wife and I'm like, I am sore. I am tired. I'm exhausted. I am mentally spent. I am actually spent, as I've spent $8,000 in the past 4 days. And I need to go lay down for a minute. And I text you, hey, 7 o'clock, okay? And before
not knowing, by the way, not knowing anything. I didn't know, like, hey, I'm
No.
exhausted. I'm taking a nap. I fixed a water. I didn't know shit. You said 7 tonight, question mark? And I'm like, I'd like to try to get it done a little earlier. Like, what about 5:30? And you never responded.
No. And, because I fell asleep 4 seconds after my head hit the pillow. Like, I didn't even get under the covers. Like, I was just gone.
That's
completely and totally gone. It's just.
You should have just. We should push this to Thursday. Like
no, because we got hold on Thursday. Like so we got hold on Thursday.
Oh, that's. Okay.
We got hold on Friday or Thursday, man. Jabassi says just for the home warranty to expire. So on that front, real quick before we get into this, I renewed my home warranty last Friday. You know what's not covered by the home warranty?
The water heater.
The one bleeping thing.
Is it the one thing not covered?
I got the Supreme coverage. So that includes all of the kitchen appliances. All of them.
And the water
and
heater.
The washer and dryer. Water heater not covered.
Can you get the water heater covered?
No. I went through all of the different options because I was
cheap ass insurance companies, man. These like, oh, we're not gonna pay $7,000. Like, oh, really? Okay, thanks.
So it was just. It has been a banner day today. You could say that I'm embracing the tank as much as the Blazers.
Hey, that was really special what they did last night. Can we take a minute?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I wanted to do was immediately just to talk about how they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. It was mwah.
I pointed this out on my radio show, and my producer Jason, I said what we talked about on the live show, and that was just roster-wise, talent-wise, this is the worst game ever played in Trailblazer history. Mm-hmm. Yes or no? And we went back, and I think you said something in the effect of like probably their first year. My producer pointed out that their first year coincided with Cleveland's first season. Mm-hmm. And so they probably played, and we're talking about like 6th round draft pick basketball players playing against fellow 6th round draft pick basketball players. And so
because they had more than 2 rounds back then.
Oh, do they have, what did they have? Like 8?
I think they had 6 in the 70s. I mean,
okay. I thought I saw somebody getting drafted in the 7th round.
No, you might be right.
But he said that, and I was like, so that was history in the making. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. They allowed Oklahoma City to finish on a 10-2 run, and they lost the game to one of the worst teams in the NBA, gathering a ping pong ball. I loved every second of it.
So, technically, do you know how many rounds there were in the NBA draft that year?
I don't know. No, I don't.
19.
Okay, yeah, it was like if you go back into the
but there's like 3 or 4 players. Like a lot of it's like honorary type stuff.
Bro, like if you go back and look, Blazers like that got drafted, like Chemeketa community college players were getting drafted in like the 10th round.
Yeah.
And it was, you knew you weren't making it, but it was like still like imagine playing at Mount Hood Community College and you're good. You average like 18 points a game. And Portland goes, we're going to draft you in the 13th round.
Here you go. Your 110th pick in the 1970 NBA draft, Claude English from Rhode Island. Shout out Lamar Odom. Played 1 year, played 18 games, played 70 total minutes.
Serious question. Do you think they ever scouted in Rhode Island at any one point?
1970? No.
Taking the train or a plane, and just go.
Neil O'Shea driving through snow. No, and they're definitely not driving or taking a plane or anything like that to go see somebody named Claude.
No, but man, what a performance by Portland last night. I was pissed. I was worried they were going to win that game.
You were a basket of cats in the final. In the 5 minutes, like they're going to win this game. They're going to win this game. You were like me. You fully are embracing the just pure insanity of it. Of just like,
bro.
No,
I mean, I hate Oklahoma City the most in the NBA.
You do, Sonics, which I still. I get it.
Zombie Sonics, man. I appreciated that rivalry. I rooted for dudes on the Seattle Supersonics. Like I got no secrets to hide about that. So I hate that they lost their team for Oklahoma mother bleeping city. I've been to OKC. It sucks.
It does. Objectively, the worst city in the NBA.
Oh yeah, I don't even think that's a contest. Who would be second in that? Sacramento, but I've been to Sacramento.
No, Sacramento's actually kind of a cool city. Like
yeah, it smells like cow shit half the time, but it's cool.
Cleveland's up there.
I've never been to Cleveland.
Detroit.
I see. I've never been to Detroit either,
Yeah.
but Detroit cannot be.
It's awful.
Well, maybe where 8 Mile was filmed, but like not every section of Detroit. Yeah. Oklahoma City is this big, and there's like one big building, and then it's just like this is our.
Then
city.
it's just cow pastures everywhere.
Yeah, and a Mickey Mantle statue. You're just like, oh, okay, I guess.
But again, welcome in everybody. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. I know for those that are wondering, we're not doing pre and posts for the rest of the season. Yeah. It's
not worth it.
It's not worth it, and I still am struggling personally. Like, physically, I am getting through a watch party is difficult. So
no, I know. And yesterday I didn't know you were going to be on, so I was like, I might just be solo on this, and I'm cool with that because I know you're going through a lot physically.
But we want to make sure we're still giving you guys content. So here's the deal going forward. I have Hold On Thursday. I've got Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation. He's their draft expert coming on, I believe, next week. And also later in the week, Jeremy Wu from Sports Illustrated. So we will have draft experts galore. I am attempting to get some regional guys, some NBA guys. The NBA guys is kind of harder to do, especially this time of year because they're really busy.
You mean like the NBA reporters?
No, like NBA draft, like scouts type folks.
Oh yeah, that would be cool if you could get it. But yeah,
I'm trying to find some guys who used to do the work, particularly. I know a couple guys that are quasi-retired or working on retainers on other stuff to talk.
The combine's in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking we could also retouch bases with our guy Rick Camp in Chicago. We had him on earlier this season. He's really good. He loves the NBA as much as us. I'm sure he's going to go to that event. So, or as much as media is allowed to attend that event. And
yeah,
so
I think they're going to open it up on that front real quick. Did you see the NFL what they did? Reporters will be allowed in the locker room. So the NFL and Major League Baseball are allowing reporters fully back in the locker rooms.
What's the difference between Major League Baseball and the NFL and the NBA, Danny? The players don't run the league.
Ah, right.
Players run the league in the NBA. This is what you're going to get. This is part of the player empowerment thing, man. Like, I'm not saying to not give them power. I'm just saying, like, the players are the ones saying we don't want those dudes in our locker room anymore, and so they get what they want.
It's frustrating. It is frustrating.
I view this a couple ways. One, like, I'd like a player to explain why they think it shouldn't happen. By the way, having been in that locker room here several times, too many times to count, you're not walking in and seeing butt-ass naked dudes right in front of you. Their showers are, you have to walk behind.
Occasionally somebody will troll you and do it.
No, where you walk in straight where their lockers are. And that's
I'm saying somebody will sit at their stall naked.
Well, but here's the thing. It's an obvious common courtesy. Like, I remember one time I came in right as Mo Harkless got to his locker, and it's not like they're walking around butt naked, but he was about to drop his towel. And as I walked in, I was like, oh, and I turned and we went on the complete opposite side. Like, you give people privacy.
Yeah. No, you do. And typically, guys when they don't want to be talked to, they keep that towel on.
Well, and also
it's the international signal for leaving the hell alone.
Yeah, but that's the thing that's crazy is, like, rarely did you get that. Some guys would be pissed and they would just leave. Like, and media aren't gonna
chase a guy down.
You have to talk to me. It's just like, okay, cool, we missed that guy.
Yeah, and I always find it really funny that people who've never been in a locker room in a professional sports commenting on, oh, you don't need that. It's like, do you realize like 90% of what guys get like on personal stuff or background or most of the research is from the locker room, pre or post game, coming in, shooting the shit for 15 minutes early on.
Huge. It's huge. It's huge for reporters. Like, I remember watching, because I'm not a reporter, nor did I really make much of an effort to, get to know players all that much. Mm-hmm. But being there for like my job, you see it. Like Casey, Casey works for the team, but like Casey's doing his reporter thing and he's talking to guys.
And that's how he's around the team. Like, when they're traveling, he's not like out at the stores and stuff with these guys, like hanging out with them. He's hanging out with the rest of the social media or the media or the right. TV crew. Like, he's not hanging out. Like, this is their common time to be together.
Jason, Mike, Eric, Sean, like, I mean, you name it, the TV folks, Nick, AJ, etc. Like, it's sidling. Like, that's what you do in those situations. And again, the players, every time I saw, would participate if they wanted to. And
it's always very evident when they don't want to participate.
It's more of a benefit. I just think it's more of a benefit for them, more so than it is a hindrance in any way.
But yeah, sorry, I wanted to get that out of the way. And yes, we are doing a mailbag here. So again, thank you everybody for being here. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Blaze said, yo, congrats on joining the 3,000 Club. Thank you guys for getting us there.
Thank you guys a ton. This season has sucked. I cannot believe we did that.
Yeah.
And it's some of you guys are bummed by the pre-post game stuff. I totally get it. But like, again, Danny's going through pain. And this season,
I wanted to do it, and Brandon was like, "You're not."
It's been a very long season, and what is there to break down from this team right now? Like,
I can find something. Trust me. Like, listen. When we get to the off season, I'm gonna do video breakdowns. Like, what did we see from Trendon Watford in those 20 games? What did we see from Brandon Williams? And it'll be like a 10-minute video, and you're gonna be like, how did you do that? How did you get 10 minutes out of that?
I need Elijah Hughes video. I need seriously.
I will not. I refuse. But we have a ton of questions. And this one I want to get out there because I've addressed it in the watch parties. We have not had a mailbag since I have talked about it. But this is something that it's like, I'm going to go full Peter Griffin here, what really grinds my gears. This is from Patrick Bernhardt at PDX Big Tub. What are the chances the tank lasts beyond this season? Brandon, what are the chances?
I mean, what are the chances? I don't know. I'll go 20% or less. Like, the chances are that something really bad happened injury-wise. Other than that, like, that's the only thing I can think of why they would tank next year. This team is actively going to improve and looking to improve, and they're going to add a good draft pick. Maybe use draft picks for trades, which we'll get into with some stuff later. But Dame's going to be healthy. You're getting Ant back again. Like, this is not a tanking position, folks. Like, Danny and I have said this before. It's not a slight to everybody listening right now, but there is a percentage of people in Portland that are not built for this. They are not built for the tank life. Yeah. They're not built.
It has been 2 whole months.
2.5, whatever you want to call this. You ain't built for it if it's bothering you or you think that this is now the norm. Look at just what's coming back. It's fine to ask that question, but like some people, and not the guy that asked that question, but there are some people that like, you're really showing your colors with this tanking because like they
should be trying to win games.
And like yesterday, we had people like, man, you guys are rooting for OKC. It's like, yes, I want them to improve their draft odds. I'm sorry.
It's been really funny because OKC won that game. Houston won the 2 games previous. And a couple of the larger Houston Twitter accounts were like, we did not suffer this whole bleeping year to end up 7th. What are they doing? Why are they winning games? Meanwhile, Portland was just bad with injuries, and now they flipped the switch post All-Star break. Post All-Star break was when they finally flipped it. Ocasio says only 2 months. It has only been 2 months. It has only been 2 months. It has been actively tanking happened after the All-Star break. Remember, they won 5 games, 4 going in and the first one out.
Yeah, that's
right. If they didn't win those games, they would be free and clear right now. They'd be chasing the 4th worst record in the NBA right now.
And they lost to the 4th worst team in the NBA last night.
Yes. So like those games changed. I think we kind of talked about
everything,
that.
and we talked about this. Not to interrupt you, but we talked about this in the moment. And Ant cooking was fun. He went against John Memphis. Like I get it. This is a balance here of I want some enjoyment out of what I'm choosing to spend.
Not all soul crushing defeat.
Yeah, versus like actively hoping my team gets trounced. I get it. I do. Those games, they may have cost you. Like they might have cost you the number 1 overall pick. We don't know yet. But like that's why when that was happening, I was pissed. I'm like,
you genuinely like it wasn't like, oh, I'm kind of irritated about it. Like you were genuinely pissed off.
Because I think this, like how pivotal 5 games can be to your draft odds.
Yeah, it really can be huge here. Speaking of draft odds, let me do this real quick since we only did it the other day. All right, I'm gonna be nice here. I'm gonna grant the tankathon. Little spin here. All right, let's go. Let's hit the little horn action. Simnat lottery, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look at that. Portland moved up 3 spots to 4th.
Hey, 4th is a good spot, I think, in this draft.
That's such a weird spot to be.
Yeah.
It's because I think there's going to be somebody who jumps up. I have heard from more than a few people that there are a couple names that are now in the top 5 that weren't previously. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Can you give us a couple of those names?
I will, and that's what in this industry, Brandon, we call that a tease. This from Slater Smith at Slater J Smith. Are we excited about anyone in the 3 or 4 spots? I feel like we've talked a lot about Jabari and Chet's fit, but what would we do with Banchero or really any 3 through 5 pick?
What would you do with Banchero? You would start him next year, and you'd say, "I hope you can shoot, young man. You're going to get a lot of open looks."
I have come around on Banchero a little bit. I liking him to Carmelo Anthony made me hesitate with him because his diet subsists on so many bad shots, but he's a bad shot maker, which Damian Lillard is a bad shot maker. Like if you were looking for a comparison, he can just get it wherever he wants to. And I think sometimes he settles, but over the NCAA tournament, he has delivered. He has gotten better shots. He's worked for more. He's in that vein, I don't think he's going to be there unless the Blazers have the number 1 overall. I think Banchero's going number 1 now. I think he's
a 6'10" big who can shoot and handle the rock.
And his playmaking is starting to shine a little bit more as the tournament's gone on.
So my slight pushback to, how you feel about Banchero, because we've talked so much about some of these prospects, and Banchero largely kind of hasn't been that.
No.
In terms of the conversation, my pushback on you is the Melo thing. I think it's easy for our lasting image to be Melo, second year with the Blazers, current Laker.
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo Anthony was a volume shooter. I don't think Banchero would be that. But
no, he would not be that here.
If we're talking play style, you do take some bad shots, but you're also a bad shot maker, like you're saying.
It's a valuable skill.
Carmelo Anthony, Danny, was really effing good.
Yeah.
And look, he doesn't have to be your favorite, but you have to admit, he elevated the Nuggets from the Nuggets.
And that's where my point was. I think I unfairly scapegoated the Blazers Carmelo Anthony, even late Knicks Carmelo Anthony, of
yes.
Oh my God, you just don't care about winning. You just care about you and your buckets, as opposed to a particular play style, if that makes sense. I think Banchero really is more than that as a player, as a skill set. Oh, hey, look, my wife's home with a puppy. That's good. Maybe she'll grab her.
Well, the water's got to be warm first.
Yeah, no, the water's warm now. I checked that when I got home. But I think Banchero has moved up a ton. Mark Williams has moved up a ton. AJ Griffin has moved up a ton. And I heard from somebody the other day that they have Keegan Murray as number 4.
Oh, Keegan Murray went up. Even after being bounced in round 1 with the game that a lot of people give him criticism.
Bad performance was
21
still
21 and 9.
More people are just talking to him. There's more. I think there's some smoke generation from his agency.
Sure.
But yeah, I think Murray's no longer in the 6, 7, 8 range and is more in the 4, 5, 6 range.
And this is a pretty important thing to point out. What you just said. There's a lot of smoke and mirror season.
Oh, it's the second the NCAA tournament ends, ladies and gentlemen, it gets cranked up to 1,000.
If that's true, though, if Murray is starting to get some love in the top 4, I would just assume, because I've said this before, he's not going to be as good in my opinion.
He's
I think
more ready day one.
Very special. I think there's somebody going to chase a Bam idea. You know what I mean? Like a guy who can kind of do a lot. And he's athletic, he's rangy. He's not great on defense in college, but there's going to be some teams that potentially could talk themselves into saying, we can get him going. We
can put a rim protector next to him, but we can figure this out. I think that's what that's the mentality of let's get somebody who their sole purpose in life is to be Mark Williams. To rim run, block shots, be athletic, take the defensive pressure off him, but really allow him to be what he is offensively, which is a multi-talented, multi-level shooter, creator, playmaker type player. And you run a hub out of him and make him at least passable defensively. And then you're cooking with gas at that position.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing to have. And then also on the defensive side, because that's the big nitpick with this kid is he's not as great defensively, and he had some bad moments against Richmond. Mm-hmm. Many people didn't give Andrew Wiggins a lot of defensive credit, and now he's in Golden State, and that's kind of been I think the biggest point of his turnaround to me. He's always been able to get buckets. It's that he is engaged and playing pretty decent on the defensive side of the basketball.
He also went to a really crappy organization. The Timberwolves,
yes, he did, out of the draft.
He was not
about right fit.
He was not ready, and it was not the right fit. Like Andrew Wiggins, I think the reason he's finally getting good is because he got with an organization, number one, that makes sense with the Warriors. Not that they're this incredible developers, but you've got an organization that makes sense, and he finally discovered like what his role really needed to be, as opposed to being Maple Jordan. It's about being a two-way guy who can score, who can shoot, who can play make a little bit, like not being a number one, and really not even being a number two, but basically being like Harrison Barnes on steroids.
Right.
Which is a real, like, there isn't a team in the NBA that looks at Andrew Wiggins and goes, I don't want that. Like, you don't want a 6'8", 235-pound dude who can get downhill and can cover multiple positions? Like,
yeah, it wasn't so much him. It was just the contract. And
Yeah.
whatever. Like you can eat that money and be okay.
Yeah. So, but that's one of those situations where I think you find yourself a few I don't know, years later kind of figuring out. That's the other thing is that Wiggins was a kid. Evan Mobley doesn't happen. Scotty Barnes doesn't happen.
Yeah, I might be wrong on this. I thought I remembered Wiggins reclassified, so I actually think he was what Jalen Duren is right now.
He's super young.
Should have been a senior. I might be wrong on this, but I feel like
coming from Canada from the prep school, he did. He's super young when he came in the league.
Yeah.
And it's just, I listen. I had my he's a bust take but is he as great as his draft position? Probably not.
No.
But is he a good, not even good, a very good player in the NBA? Yes. He deserved his All-Star spot.
Offensive option.
He deserved his All-Star spot this year, unequivocally.
Yeah.
And that's if you ever get an All-Star in your NBA career, even one, you are a hell of a player. So, but that's kind of like where the framing of this stuff. And we'll swing back into some more draft stuff. But I definitely want to talk about this because we didn't talk about it in the postgame because we wrapped up so quick, or not the postgame, but the watch party. From Majestic Oregonian at @real_Malcolm88, was the end of the OKC game a coaching or player error or an example of throwing a game? Where do you go with this? Because I went back and watched the last 30 seconds just to make sure I had it all figured out, and I landed pretty squarely on one thing.
Oh, so what the options are: coaching, tanking, or
player.
What was the other one?
Player error.
I would lean more player error than anything, and that's the point of tanking is you're putting out players that probably shouldn't be playing in pivotal moments like that.
So if you go back and watch it, for those that saw the inbounds play, Brandon Williams' immediate reaction was, shit, my bad.
We're talking about the OKC inbounds, right? Yeah. Okay, so we pointed this out in live watch party. That wasn't just Brandon Williams, though. Drew Eubanks left that alley wide open and should have turned his body to make him go to the Blazers basket. You can't be that open. You allow a free reign lane, and so Brandon Williams gets caught, and now you're screwed because that ball could get through so easily.
And it's 94 feet.
Yes.
So, but Williams immediately was just, my bad. I guarantee Chauncey Williams was not telling him to go for two and then foul.
Chauncey Williams?
Did I say Chauncey Williams? That's the painkiller. Listen, man, the game went shit up, last night. I know.
I'm just giving you
no. Trust me. Give me all the hard times because I'm going to slip these things up. For those that aren't aware, yes, I am on painkillers more often than not as I'm dealing with this, and I just cut the dose back enough to where I don't reset during the show.
Yeah.
But I still will stumble over it pretty regularly. But I've seen more than a few people quick to kind of throw Chauncey under the bus here, and I don't, as somebody who didn't really want Chauncey, or not necessarily didn't want Chauncey, didn't care. I wasn't like, yeah, Chauncey's not going to be the best. Again, I don't think most coaches are, but I saw some people like, oh, he's intentionally tanking the game. No, that's a franchise decision. The coaches and players do not make these decisions. They are not throwing a game live. That is not happening. Now, could Ben McLemore play a few less minutes? Yes. For last night's game against OKC, could he play a few less minutes? No. Why? Because they had 8 bleeping players active. I saw people like, oh, why is McLemore playing? What do you mean? There's 8 active players. There's 19. I know. I wanted to, when you said it, I gave you the same look. We pulled up the tweet. There's 19. Michael Bodmer, shout out, works for ESPN, put out a tweet. I am intentionally watching this game tonight. And there's 19 players listed out between both teams.
Yeah.
19 players.
I'm not mad that Ben McLemore played. Play him 7 minutes.
Or let him
get how I wanted them to
front load the minutes. Let him play 20 in the first half kind of a deal, and then 2 in the second.
Right.
But yeah,
an indictment on Chauncey. We're not going there. Come on, I'm not playing this game.
Listen, I got all next year to yell at Chauncey when they're healthy and they're trying to figure shit out, and he does something dumb. I am not going to Chauncey threw that game. How dare he? The sanctity of the game. I am not I am not going to.
There is no sanctity. I hope he threw the game. Let me put that on the record. I don't give a damn. Give me another ping pong ball. The sanctity of the game. Have you seen this roster? We've crossed the sanctity line.
Oh, God. All right. This from PDX Metro Hoops, at PDX Metro Hoops. Over under on this team having 3 vet minimum level players on the roster going into next season.
3 vet minimums.
I think 3 is the number. I think you need to set that at 2.5.
I would say the over-under feels like it's at 3, so you have to go below that because otherwise you get a push.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be 3. And here's the thing. The Blazers, and we've talked about this a lot, the Blazers are going to get to a position where it's going to take time, and I don't say this for the like excusing Joe Cronin. He didn't get enough back in the deals. I've seen a bunch of that lately, and I'm just like, no, guys, no. But in order to have all of their tools available, the BAE, a full mid-level exception, a taxpayer mid-level exception, you have to get through a couple years, or at least this summer and next summer, to basically fill the roster back out. We've talked about this a ton. One way you can float this around is to basically pay Joe Ingles $12 million in the offseason and float his money and then use that as trade bait going into the deadline to bring in another player, because you won't get access to the MLE, but you can bring in a player anywhere between the $10 and $14 million range who's got multiple years left on this deal. So that's one avenue to bring guys in. But they can't bring in, like, they don't have anybody on the roster outside of Josh Hart making that money, because they're going to pay Nurk probably $16 or $17 million a year. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to have that 10, 12 guy. So if you get Ingles, he doesn't really play. Well, hell, maybe he plays 20 games for you. But it's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and yes, those deals happen. They did it with Rodney Hood. Remember, they gave him a guaranteed deal after he ruptured his Achilles.
Yeah, it was a thank you, Rodney Hood. Here's your money.
Well, it was a thank you, Rodney Hood, because they basically worked it out to get him to Portland in the first place, and they had to make good on it.
Yep.
And then it was the whole idea was, we'll pay you so that way we can make it so we can trade you for somebody else. And that was the ballast that they used to bring in Norm alongside Gary's rookie deal. So you're looking at essentially the same thing here in Joe Ingles. And I'm saying all of this because you have to get to a point where you fill out a roster. I'm very confident in believing Brandon Williams is going to be on this team next year as their 3rd point guard. He will be a two-way guy that they keep. Drew Eubanks, 70% chance of being this team's 3rd center next year on a vet minimum deal.
Wouldn't be mad by it.
Listen, it's a win-win. He's a guy who dunks the hell out of the ball, gives you a ton of effort. He's a red ass, which they've been missing. Like, he is going to piss people off. And
he played for Pop for like 3-4 years.
Yeah,
yes.
He's a viable NBA player.
Yes.
So bring him back on a vet minimum. It's a feel-good deal. He's the Shaq of Troutdale. Shout out Mike Richmond for a wonderful nickname. So there's your two-way guy. You go use the two-way on somebody else. Watford's not a vet minimum guy because they converted him to the second round, or the two-way conversion deal. Do they go out and they get another wing on a vet minimum? Do they bring back Ben McLemore? Yeah, like that's 2 right there.
I would not be mad if they brought Ben McLemore back. Let me just throw that out there.
Listen,
right now.
That guy single-handedly won them 4 games this year.
Yeah, I mean, the dude is capable to go off at any moment.
He had 8 threes last night.
If you have a guy like that can shoot the ball coming off the bench, yes, please, all day.
And I'll be totally transparent here. The reason he was originally brought in, he was not going to play. When they were fully healthy, that's Dame's guy. Mac is Dame's guy. Like, it was just like, hey, let's make Dame happy. Let's bring in a dude who he likes.
Yeah.
And that happens at LeBron's teams are made up of LeBron's guys. Like, Giannis has guys that he wants on his team. Like, that's how this stuff works.
He wanted Drew Holiday. I mean, that's why Drew Holiday's there. He wanted Drew Holiday.
So you bring those guys in and you figure it out. But when this whole idea of, like, there's guys on this team, these guys aren't NBA players you're out of your mind. You're just talking about elevating probably guys that are like 12 and higher on a depth chart that now goes to 17. Like, that's the difference, because CJ Ellaby isn't going to be on this team next year. Like, I will say that with the utmost confidence. So you either replace him with a 2nd round pick, or you're going to replace him with a vet minimum guy. If you have him and you have Eubanks and you have Ben McLemore, how many vet minimum contracts do you have there, Brandon?
3.
So that they're going to get there immediately. When you're looking at the starting lineup, they'll bring a trade in if they do end up bringing in Jeremy Grant. Not going to be any vet minimum guys in that starting lineup. You look at that bench. Ingles probably won't be active, but you've got
not for a while.
But you've got Nas and you've got Hart. Are those vet minimum guys? No.
No.
Are they going to use their MLE probably on a big? Yeah. So your vet minimum guys are going to come from the guard position or from the wing position.
Yep.
And once you get your third center and your backup point guard and McLemore, like you're just basically filling out the roster. And what are you going to use it for? Vet min. So 3 is probably the number. Long, convoluted way to get there. Sorry. But
no,
I think
it's good.
the framework of understanding it, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's good to walk people through that and have them understand the MLE and the way that's going to impact in terms of who your vet minimum guys are and what positions they're going to be playing. And, 3 is the right number. And I think it's good to draw it out for people like that.
Just want to give a quick shout out to everybody out here in the comments. Thank you all. We appreciate you. It's nice to be back and doing this stuff. And because we got in the flow of doing things in the pre and post game show. Now, obviously, we're not doing it as often, but we will have for the remainder of the season. We will have the watch parties going. I have some stuff that I want to do for you guys as members to keep rewarding you for being members. It's not going to just like, oh yeah, by the way, the watch parties are over. Number one, we're going to keep the watch parties going into the summer for other stuff because because I will have control of the server, and basically I will throw up, hey, game footage of this player. This is the player we're going to watch today. As the kind of get ready for the draft and stuff like that. So, and then kind of break some things down, do some play-by-play, some learning, some educational stuff. One of the things I want to do is I want to bring in Caitlin Cooper to go through some playbook stuff to give like a better understanding straight from a coach's daughter and one of the best minds out there covering the game.
I get a little nervous when we bring Caitlin on.
The inferiority complex starts kicking in a little bit.
Boy, nobody makes me feel dumber than Caitlin Cooper talking about basketball, and I'm like, what?
I will say this unequivocally. I don't think there's anybody better at what she does save Jay Billis.
I mean,
I mean that not to like gas her up, but like I am being dead serious. She should be on a national broadcast doing playbook work.
There's a reason Zach Lowe shouts her out.
Yes,
yeah.
There's zero reason why she is not a national outlet. Doesn't make any sense. She's that good. So everybody keeps asking about Blevins. I do not believe Blevins will be back.
He will not be back.
If he's back, it's working security with Rick Riley.
Yeah, that dude, he's done. He's going to go make a couple bucks in Europe, China, something. And
but his NBA, he get to live his NBA dream. Shout out to Blevins. I don't mean that like in a negative way. Like, congratulations on the genetic lottery, dude. Like,
he went to Montana State and played in the NBA.
Like, that doesn't happen.
No.
Dustin Wilshire, less of a question, more of a comment. At Dustin Wilshire, double down with gambling strategies makes the rest of the season way more enjoyable to watch. Cut the check. Good night and God bless.
Yeah, absolutely. Fade the Blazers on the money line every time.
Every single
get a ton of money
game.
On it. Yep.
Brad Allen at B_Rislin. This question also came in from Adrian Bernisic, our Aussie native at Blazers Edge. He said, hey, can you talk about Wednesday's game? The desire to want to control both things. That is to control your own destiny and the Pelicans pick. And I don't know where you fall, Brandon, but I will say this. I want Portland to lose every single game.
I want CJ to drop 78 points on this team and bury them by the first quarter. That's I don't what is the
that
debate?
Top pick as much as you want that Pelicans pick to convey, as badly as you want it to convey. It pales in comparison to the Blazers lottery odds and getting a chance at a top 3 pick.
Look, if New Orleans wins the 1 pick, it's rigged. Okay, it's going to be fake news. The fact of
Zion goes to New York and all of a sudden they got the number 1. So
even if you beat them, they're still in the play-in. Like, they still have to get through the play-in still.
I would push back a little bit. Then I started remembering the Lakers were down 40 at one point tonight.
Bro, the Lakers are out. LeBron's got an ankle injury. We don't know if AD
back Friday.
An AD report.
Back Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Well, okay, cool. I can't wait for him to play 8 minutes and get hurt again.
Paul George is back, though.
Right. But
that does spice things up a little bit as far as the play-in is concerned.
Sure. But you Portland, you beating New Orleans does not change anything for New Orleans. To me, it helps you to lose that game. You want to lose.
Yeah.
Point blank. You want to lose because that pick you possess where you're currently at, 6th right now?
Yes.
If you can somehow get into the top 5 by the end of the year, you're going to feel ecstatic about that. Your odds of getting the 1 pick Or hell, you don't get a top 3 pick, you still get the 4 pick. We don't know where this draft's going to go and who's going to get picked early and who's going to fall. Like, hell, there's a decent amount of people right now listening love Chet Holmgren. Who's to say Jabari, Paolo, like Ivy, somebody doesn't.
Shaedon Sharpe may jump because
Shaedon
somebody
Sharpe.
looks at that and goes, that's a 6'6" wing with all the athleticism in the world.
Yes. And
I
Chet,
really want him.
Chet is like, there's some people that are off Chet because the last 2 games in that tournament were like,
He started playing better non-WCC competition, and it didn't look quite as good. Glowing moments at times against Memphis, but also, didn't deliver in the next round.
Dude, I think we need to put it out there. Like, for those people like Chet, maybe we get Chet at 4. Let's just start talking about how overrated he is and get him to slip, on our big board.
And here's the thing. What's been really funny is to watch Blazers fans in general talk themselves into circles and knots over, number one, making sure the Pelicans pick conveys, but at the same time not being excited about trading said pick for Jeremy Grant. It's been like this weird situation that they constantly find themselves in, trying to rationalize one side or the other.
Yeah.
I don't think a world exists where the Blazers use both picks. But
you don't think there's a world that exists? What if it's like a top 7 pick?
Well, just mathematically, it's not going to from the Pelicans.
What's the highest it could get to?
Realistically, right now, 9.
What if it's a 9?
I don't think they use it.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's the general sense that I get.
Well, I mean, everybody, I think the consensus feel is that that's the pick for Jeremy Grant.
Maybe they get to a point where when it comes time to actually pull the trigger, there's some cold feet. And Joe's like, I'm not giving up this asset for Jeremy Grant. I'm just not going to do it. And that could cause a rift. Could cause a rift, I'll say that. But it's gonna be interesting to kind of see how that all starts to shake out. This is kind of, again, look at this. I'm learning, Brandon. My tease game's getting up. From Hoops Galore, at Hoops Galore 0. I'm all for getting Jeremy Grant. A lot of Portland fans seem skeptical about it. Others hate it. Can you break down the deal and kind of hype it up? LOL. And what's yours and Brandon's opinions?
Can you hype it up? I'm pro Jeremy Grant. Come on, hype him up a little bit here.
I'm pro Jeremy Grant in the sense of, like, the chance of said player in 9 through 12 turning into Jeremy Grant is less than Jeremy Grant. But if you want to justify it in the sense of a dollar production ratio, okay. Jeremy Grant would be the best wing this team has had since Brandon Roy. We've kind of talked about that. And it's not really close. He's a good player. They aren't putting bad players on Team USA. That doesn't happen. But just in general, I find myself wanting to live in both worlds. Like, I love young guys. I as far as like watching them develop, and like that's my jam. Like, outside of actual basketball, player development is the thing that I focus on the most. Selfishly, I would very much want them to use both picks. However, the flip side of this, while I like Jeremy Grant, you know who I love, Brandon?
Who?
Jimmy Butler. Love me some Jimmy Butler. And there has been more than a little bit of scuttlebutt out there. A Windhorst had it today that things aren't great. Jimmy is a tough cat. He's a prima donna. He's a weird dude, hyper competitive, and he's relentless. It wears on you.
He also has a very different personality type, so I don't think city matters.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves coffee.
And more than a few times, I have heard that Dame and Jimmy would like to play together.
I mean, they should have played together
at least 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So, listen, I am 100% on board, but the machinations.
You're trading both those picks for Jimmy Butler.
I don't think you could give up both. I think.
Well, I'm just saying. I don't know, why would Miami take a 9th overall pick?
Because they would look to do something in order to dump salary so they can go pursue Bradley Beal. That's why.
I don't know. Look, I get it. It's hot right now. They just had the dust up during the game, but like Kyle Lowry went to Miami for a reason.
I don't disagree.
And Jimmy Butler is one of those reasons. So I'm not ready to completely say Jimmy's gone, but if Jimmy Butler is available, you do what you can to get him.
I don't think you can give up both picks.
That'd be the best traded player you've received since Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. But I also don't think this team is as close as that team was.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but that's the part of this that we, not maybe you per se, but like the element that I think I need to remind myself from time to time is Dame is 100% next year.
Mm-hmm.
And we can look into the world of point guards who are, what is he turning, 31, 32?
32, yeah.
Coming off of that injury, coming off of missing basically most of the season. If he's back to what he was, and you're talking about Jimmy Mother effing Butler.
If your backcourt, your three is Dame, Ant, Jimmy Butler.
And by the way, what conference is getting worse?
The West. Andy Marchand says that Jimmy extension is so awful. Guys, I hate to tell you this.
Who cares?
Every top 20 player in the NBA's, their contract is awful.
Give me Jimmy Butler. I don't care about the money part.
And that's the thing is that, and the flip side is, we've talked about this a little bit, is TV deal in 2024. Those bad deals start looking a lot better on the money side of things. So, but the difference is that Jimmy's deal is more expensive than Jeremy Grant's. So there are certain things you would have to figure out. I would imagine Josh Hart goes out in that deal, and the different things you would have to do to kind of figure that out. But like that, God, that would be fantastic. Ginger Fit Dad, I'm sorry. Listen, I've seen you in there, man, asking about Didi Louzada. I'm kind of pacing it to get into Didi. Give me a few minutes. I will swing back to it because I was almost certain I had a Didi question in here. If I don't, I will get to it. The Jimmy stuff was just kind of the idea of what we were talking about a month ago, and really every week since we kind of knew what this was going. There were legitimate noise and rumors and ghosts in the dark talking about Jaylen Brown wanting out December, January, like that. And this is how this stuff goes. When players move, it's not sudden. It's not. It's these things get put into motion months in advance. And so when you start hearing in January Jaylen Brown is not happy, well, Boston kind of figured their shit out. Well, now Robert Williams is probably done for the season.
Yeah,
so
that was a big bummer to hear about that.
It is, because Time Lord's a hell of a player. He's super fun. But the idea of trying to figure that all out is really kind of like which guy is going to shake free. One of them could be Jimmy Butler. One of them could be my dog that I'm going to just kill here in a second. But yeah, it's one of those things where you don't know until you know. Until like you can hear all the rumblings and whispers. Like every year, there's 4 or 5 guys like, oh, they're probably going to go. They're probably going to go. One of them ultimately ends up shaking free, maybe 2. This year, I think Beal's gone.
Oh, I think there's going to be a big that's gone too, because this team's going to get bounced early.
Which one's that?
Joel Embiid.
You really think he's going to go, huh?
I really don't think it's impossible, and I
don't either.
I'm just the way this league operates. I just find it funny when people throw something like that out, and you get like other people like, "What? That's ridiculous. He loves it here." This league is fickle, man. Harden right now. Have you seen the way Harden's playing? Absolute trash. He's shooting like 20% in the month of March. It's awful. And guess what? The playoffs are getting closer, and we know that's basically who Harden is. If they get bounced early, is Joel going to continue to hang around? He's going to want to keep partnering with James Harden,
especially after Daryl chased his guy and getting Harden.
So there's no facts
I'm not against it, but
I'm
I'm there with you.
I'm just throwing it out there, and he doesn't seem like the type that's like, I got to play somewhere, sexy. Give me to the Knicks. I think that dude would welcome anybody that's going to make him have the best shot to win the championship. And pairing Damian Lillard with Joel Embiid, my Lord.
Yeah, I'm definitely a part of that. That would very much
Gotta go off the
prey
board
on
sometimes.
their downfall. Prey on their downfall.
Oh, I'm preying on their downfall because I don't like James Harden, but like I just say Joel Embiid because like I think sometimes we just don't think about certain names, and you gotta this league will just present it, and you're like, what? Was that? Did that really just happen? That's what pro sports does, right? Like,
Yeah, no, that just comes out of left field and punches you in the face.
I know Tyreek Hill was looking for a contract extension, and then 2 hours later to be a Miami Dolphin because he got traded. Like, sports is nuts now.
I'm trying to think there. I could have swore there was a Didi Louzada question in here, but maybe I was the text message that I got earlier. I can't remember, but I'll hit on it real quick. Ginger, was it Ginger Fit Dad? Didi Louzada is. I had him at Hoop Summit 3-4 years ago. He was a late addition for the world team, and everybody there went, "What is this guy doing here?" He looked lost.
Yeah.
But his athleticism, his burst, his length, his short, like in a box. We talk about a football player's ability to play in small spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Didi Louzada's ability, he is a water bug. He just it is incredible. Offensively, he is a disaster.
Yeah.
Defensively, wait till he gets on the floor, man. He has some juice that you would not believe.
Yeah.
Now, is he good enough offensively to justify being on the floor? Maybe. But it is super fun to watch him just blanket guys. And that's what he does. He works super hard on that end. He's incredibly long. He's incredibly, like, again, short distance, bursty. He's not like an explosive vertical athlete.
Are we talking like another DJJ?
Smaller, but without the vertical burst, and I think better in smaller spaces. But
Okay.
he's built very much the same, very spindly.
And very similar in terms of like, you're going to get some defense, but like he might cost you on the offensive end.
Yeah, 100%. If you're not using him exactly, because his handle's not great. He can't shoot.
Right.
But like Ginger Fidesz says, like a Tony Allen. No, because Tony Allen was maybe the strongest pound for pound guy in the NBA.
Tony Allen go get you a bucket. He'd just take it inside more so than shoot.
But not just that. Like try bossing Tony Allen physically. Good luck.
Yeah.
Tony Allen played like he was 60 pounds heavier. And it's just the last guy I can remember playing really like that as a guard is Wes Matthews, who just a guy who Kyle Lowry's probably like that. Jameer Nelson was like that. But guys that just are just dumb strong for their size. But Didi is not super strong. I think Derek Jones Jr. is probably the more apt comparison, where it's just long, rangy, super wiry, pain in the ass to screen.
Yeah.
It just has a really good does a really good job of staying on ball. Which again, Portland, even if they add Jeremy Grant, let's say their lineup next year is Dame, Ant. Find a small forward, a replacement level small forward. Let's just put Nas in there just for that.
Yeah. Oh, this is it.
I think Nas and Hart are going to come off the bench next year, but let's just put Nas there, Grant and Nurk.
Yeah.
I like Nas as a point of attack guy, but he still hasn't shown that he's that guy quite yet. The Blazers don't have a point of attack guy. They've got a lot of helper defenders. Like Josh Hart's an okay point of attack guy, but he's really a middle of the floor disruptor.
Mm-hmm.
Because he again plays a little bit bigger than he is, but he doesn't blow up plays at the point of attack. The Blazers just don't have that guy. So could Louzada end up being a backup off the bench kind of version? Yeah. If the Blazers got a Jimmy Butler, there's your point of attack guy. That's kind of why I start leaning that way towards a Jimmy more than obviously like he's better than Jeremy Grant, obviously. But like the style of player that I prefer is more that kind of guy.
Yes, agree.
But let's have a little bit of fun real quick. This is from the Bleach Bros podcast. Shout out Jake the Hater and those guys.
Oh, they do a good job over there on that pod.
They do. And you went on. I was supposed to go on, and then I had my hip thing, and I haven't been able to circle back with them. So, guys, if you're listening, hit me up. I'll come back on with you guys. If you had to be a furry with one mascot in the league, which one would it be and why?
What's a furry?
You know what a furry is.
I don't.
It's the people that wear like furry suits. It's borderline sexual.
Oh, okay.
Like there's like actual furry conventions. Oh yeah.
No idea. I had no idea.
Listen, man, just make sure you put your phone in private. Go ahead and Google.
I have
yourself
no
some
interest in
furry
looking
act.
that up. No, I have no interest in looking that up. I don't want to see that. So I can pick any animal I want.
NBA mascot.
Oh, NBA mascot.
Mm-hmm. I know where I'm going immediately. You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going with the San Antonio Spurs Coyote because he looks like he's seen some shit. Oh, wide eyes, bloodshot.
Hey, okay. I'm going Orlando Magic mascot. I'm walking in. I'm goofy as hell. You know I'm crazy. I'm all about it. Like let's have some fun.
Just ringing the doorbell. Ding dong. Yeah, I'm here for the gangbang.
Yeah, he's shaking my whole mascot body. Hey, let's go to going.
So there you go. There's your furry customer. There's your furry.
And the
question.
one that I'm not inviting to the party is the damn trail cat. Like that thing. What's that?
Buzzkill.
Blaze?
Yeah, Buzzkill Blaze.
Oh, Buzzkill Blaze. Buzz off. Everybody else is invited except Blaze.
Hodgepodge at Amar Greenberg. Does this tank feel like the Spurs in '97? Dame is the Admiral, etc. Also, on a side note, I feel like of all the all-time greats, that Dame and Robinson would have kicked so much ass together. Listen, I'm telling you right now, Damian Lillard and David Robinson's an NBA title. Unabashedly.
Really?
Unabashedly.
Okay.
David Robinson in today's NBA is a terrifying force.
Oh, it's a cheat code.
People forget David Robinson because, as far as like his game, because he was overshadowed by the Shaq era, and even Hakeem in those times.
He got stuck in between Hakeem and Shaq.
Yeah, David Robinson was a shooter.
Yeah,
free throw line monster. You're telling me that guy couldn't add a 3-point shot to his range with that size? You're talking about basically bigger Giannis. Like, he doesn't have the handle, but like the ability to create, play defense, get downhill. Yeah. David Robinson and Damian Lillard is an NBA title.
David Robinson needed like 30 or more points the last game of the year for the scoring title, and he scored 70.
That's a big scoring 70.
I mean, and by the way, it's very reminiscent to me. The circumstance is a little different. I think Robinson that year broke his arm, and they were like, okay, let's just pack this in. Tim Duncan's.
This is before like tanking was a thing. This is really kind of where it originated, to be honest.
Oh, Pop's the OG and some of this stuff. Yeah. The load management, the tanking.
Did not play rest. Did not play old.
Right. Yes. Did not play rest and old. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a live question from Jack Strang. Danny, would you trade a top 4 pick for a 1-year rental of LeBron? 4 years ago, yes. Now, no. Time is undefeated, and you were starting to see it catch up with LeBron James. Ankle here, back there, hammy there. There's no amount of $1 million therapy and taking care of your body that will defeat Father Time. And he's missing games finally. Honestly, he's been the most durable big man in NBA history outside of Shaquille O'Neal. That's because LeBron's not a wing. He's a big. Let's just call it what he is. He's a big. And it's at this point in time, it's, what about you? Would you do it for 1 year?
The question was for Danny. It wasn't for Danny and Brandon.
I'm asking you. Would you do it? It's a tough call.
I would have to spend legitimately 24 hours to think about that, because not right now, but like in the hypothetical world, because I just value Dame so much and want him to get a chip. Mm-hmm. And while you're not wrong, he showed this his first year in LA. He missed 27 games with his hamstring injury, which was legit. And then obviously they won the championship, and then he got banged up at the end of last season, and now it's happening again. I would have no doubts he would miss games. But it's LeBron James, and like LeBron next year with Damian Lillard next year is
LeBron Dame Ant is a terrifying offense.
In the Western Conference,
you've got to add more bodies to that team, but LeBron's also the best recruiter in the league.
Out there, add another shooter, like just get shooters around him and call it good. The Lakers were better when LeBron was the center this year anyway. So I would really have to think long and hard on that. Ultimately, I think I land on the no. And that pains me because I'm a super big LeBron fan.
I am too.
But you are. I mean, you really are. You're risking it, and you're saying these next 2 years we got to win because LeBron 2 years from now, I mean,
he's 40.
He's going to be. He'll be in the league.
He'll be 40.
Yeah, and that'll kind of be the start of the tail end. So it's like a 1 or 2 year window, and you need a lot of S to go your way to win a championship sometimes, and that's a lot to rely on. So
4 years ago, I do it.
3 years ago, I do it.
But again, LeBron will be 40 in 2 years.
2 years ago, though, I do this.
It's crazy. There's a few people in the chat that are surprised that I knew what a furry was and was so quick to have my answer. Listen, folks.
I'm just glad.
I'm not here kink shaming, okay?
Yeah, well, I know it's not a kink shame, but I was not familiar enough with that world.
Okay, well, you're just missing out.
I thought it was the animatronic animals that they used to sell. What are those called?
Oh, yeah, like the Chuck E. Cheese ones?
No, but the little, they're like this big and they're
it's a Furby.
Furby.
With a
That's
B.
what it was.
Those things are terrifying. Yeah. Keeley at Lofgren 360. If the Trailblazers luck out in the lottery, end up with a player like Jabari, does that change the idea of trading for Jeremy Grant? What do you say?
No.
Really?
No.
Because I think it does.
Go get more talent.
I don't disagree, but I think they may try to look somewhere else.
Well, I mean, if something else opens up, sure. But right now, what we know, if it's Jeremy Grant or role guy, and you can argue Jeremy Grant's a role guy himself, but like, you know what I mean? The next level down, go give me the best player. We'll figure that out.
That's fine. But like talking about positional like versatility and how things would kind of line up, Jabari's a 4-5 and Jeremy Grant's really kind of a 4-3. Like mostly a 4 can play some 3. Like if I had to do a minutes dispersion, like 80% at the 4, 20% at the 3, like Portland still doesn't have a 3. They don't have like a true dyed-in-the-wool wing in this scenario. So
Jabari's what, 6'10"?
Yeah, he's legit 6'10" and will play some small ball 5 in his career. I'm 100% certain of that. So,
well, he should play small ball 5 here if Portland can get him. I would start that next year.
Go when you go small, take Nurk off the floor, put Jabari at the 5 for a little bit. Yeah, no, that's like again like Rashard Lewis. A pure hellscape for teams to try to cover, or when the Nets and the Warriors have done it with kind of KD as a quasi 5. It's like, what do you do with a guy like athletically who's at that and can stretch your defense out? And you're like, oh, this is a problem.
You stagger the rotation where you're getting Ant and Jabari together, because that's also something you'd be building on for the future, is having those two guys have that chemistry.
Yeah, this is just kind of figuring that stuff out. We're just gonna a couple more, and then we'll get out of here. And again, thank you guys so much. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us grow the show. If you're new here, welcome. We appreciate you. If you're returning, we appreciate you as well. Again, help us kind of get back to the grind. If you're new here or if you haven't subscribed yet, please click subscribe on the show. It's free. It's easy. It helps us beat the almighty algorithm. Remember, we're available wherever you get podcasts. So whenever we get done with these shows, I take them and I load them up into the podcast feed, and they're available the next day. So if you miss out, you can catch us on the morning drive. This is from Justin Ross. Danny mentioned Cam Johnson as a potential target in the offseason in the last pod. What other guys do you see Portland targeting in the offseason not named Jeremy Grant? And we've kind of danced around this a little bit, but the reason I've held off is because we won't know until a team falls out. We won't know what guys shake out. If the Suns fall in their face, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, I could see some pretty drastic changes in Phoenix. The same thing with the Boston
Warriors,
Celtics,
who look like a fading team right now?
I can very much see Draymond Green asking out, because they are trying to do what the Blazers are attempting to do, which is this idea of living in both worlds. Chasing a ring and being ready for the next group.
Well, and I also wouldn't be stunned if Steve Kerr walked away.
Well, I'll tell you this. He's got a 34% winning percentage without Steph Curry in his career.
Well,
it's weird. It's weird how a coach's record is immediately reflective of having nothing but just Hall of Fame caliber players up and down his roster.
Well, what's funny is I know what you're doing, and we both agree on this topic. So it's just like, yeah, well, what's Phil's record without Kobe and Jordan? And it's like, oh, yeah, he was a Knicks coach. They were awful.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
so
I just wanted to throw that in there just because I saw it the other day. I think they're 44 and 88 without Steph.
I don't know. I don't know why I said that. Like, I was watching him last night. He got ejected in that Minnesota game.
Oh, he's very clearly irritated.
Not Minnesota, Memphis.
Yeah.
And I just thought that would be out of left field, but I wouldn't be that floored by the announcement. I think his kids are at a certain age. Like I could see Steve Kerr taking a break for
sabbatical,
3-4 years.
Just pulling a Phil Jackson and waiting for another Hall of Fame group.
Why not? Why would you? Who did he play for? He's a big, by all reports, he kind of operates very similar to Phil in terms of like relating to guys and having good relationships and talking. Like, I wouldn't be shocked by that. I really wouldn't.
So, it's interesting to see which teams kind of shake out, right? And as much as I can say I want to see Portland chase this guy or that guy, I have very much heard Cam Johnson's name. That is a targeted name I have heard come up in conversations.
That would be an amazing asset.
Yes, and that's your 3-4.
Yeah.
Like if your lineup going into next season was Dame, Ant, Cam, Grant, Nurkic, and that rookie that you draft comes off the bench with Nas and Hart, you have got yourself a basketball team.
That's a good basketball team, man. That will make you feel like, hey, maybe they're not going to get picked by anybody, but the West could be a little open, and you give Damian Lillard some space, he'll be able to knock some stuff down.
Ginger Fitz dad says, I'm still upset we didn't draft Dylan Brooks. I'm not.
I would have liked Dylan Brooks a lot on this team. I know your position on it, but Dylan Brooks would have been a nice piece to have.
Sure. Not sending out Gary Trent Jr. would have kind of replicated the same thing in trading C.J. McCollum, but that's neither here nor there. Joel, Mr. Yolius, C.J. Ellaby has done a great job facilitating the tank. Will he be rewarded for this? He's been rewarded. He was drafted and given money.
Yep.
Screech DiCaprio at Stop It Guy. What does a Miles Bridges trade look like? It doesn't.
No.
Listen, as much as Cam Johnson is the guy I'd love, Miles Bridges is kind of the dream scenario. A guy that you just kind of throw it in there, can take over a basketball game, is a physical freak, good defender, solid playmaker, and just lives to catch bodies.
Yep. I don't think there's any chance he's getting out of there.
No. And then this is another one from Brandon Johnson at Brandjohn333. Another one, if you please. Big picture view. Did the Blazers screw the pooch by trading Gary Trent Jr. away at all? Screw the pooch? No. Did Neil's hubris get in the way and force them to make a bad move? Yes. Yes, they did. I don't think
nothing to add. Exactly the right answer.
I don't think there's like any debating that. As far as that, and other than that, I think that's where we're going to wrap up. I got some more questions in here. Shelby Rice, this is a question.
We could carry some of these for hold all.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've got so many here. Thank you. You're very good at this. But I wanted to acknowledge this because you and I talked about this right before we came on. Shelby Rice sent in a question at Shelby S. Rice. Would love for you both to predict the 15-man roster for opening night next year. We can do this. We can do this, honestly, after the draft. Or not after the draft. After the lottery, I think it would be fun. Because then you know what kind of pieces are available. And I think that's something we may do. Is kind of do it and then kind of put it up on maybe like one of the community posts or something like that so we can go back and go, ooh. And go back and kind of check it afterwards. But again, thank you all so very much. We appreciate you. We love you. If you're just getting in or you're just coming in, we're wrapping things up. You can rewatch from the beginning. These are always going to be up there. If you want to wait for a little bit, it'll be up in the podcast feed. These are always available here on YouTube. So again, thank you all so very much. We appreciate you. We love you. And again, thank you for getting us to 3,000. It's been huge. Business breakdown real quick. I am currently looking for a place to hold our actual draft party. We will have a live watch party for both the draft and the draft lottery. The one that we have for the draft will be on site somewhere. I'm not going to say any names until I actually lock it down, but it will be a place where people can come to. So I'm really looking forward to that. Beyond that, we've got Hold All on Thursday. I'm going to actually text him as soon as we get done here and figure that out. And then, like I said, we've got Jeremy Wu and Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation and Sports Illustrated to take a look at the NBA draft. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. And we'll have some more stuff coming up for members exclusives as well. So, again, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Help us grow the show. You can find us on social media at Jacked Ramsays. You can email us, jackedramsays@gmail.com. Also, you can follow Jacked Ramsays on Instagram now. Look at that.
Hey, I saw that.
I finally created it. So
that's a good call.
I'll do some some reels and stuff there. You might even see a Jacked Ramsays TikTok show up, and It's a deep, dark world, but listen, I got to sell out somewhere.
I'm not checking that out.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's for the kids. But you can find us on social media at Danny Marang, at Brandon Sprague. You know what? I just looked the other day. I haven't checked this in a long time, and this is very weird, Brandon. There's 8,000 people out there that are incredibly insane. 8,000 people now follow me on Twitter. 8,017.
Hey, how about that? An 8,000 guy.
I was like, when did that happen?
Hey,
it's
congratulations.
Weird. I was just weird. Again, thank you all for
2 away from 10.
When that happens, that's terrifying. That gets like people actually give a damn, and I don't think that's ever a good thing.
It's always a great thing.
But again, the support and the love, the feedback, everything has been tremendous. We love you guys so much. We will catch you on Thursday for Hold All, tomorrow for the watch party. Obviously, CJ McCollum and the Pelicans will be back into town. That'll be probably the most interesting game left the rest of the season. As far as a pregame, well, actually, they play the Pelicans twice, don't they?
I think it's the Pelicans. Yeah, I think they have the Thunder twice in this span too.
Yeah, so there's some intriguing matchups as far as lottery standings and guys coming back in. So we appreciate you. And Gingerford says, have a good night, y'all. Dirt and Sprague in the AM. That's right. Flip it over to 1080 from 6 to 9 and catch the homies in the morning. One of those times we'll drag Dirt into this just because I like to watch him scream. You guys have a great night. We appreciate you. We love you. Talk soon.